Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Story Time with Uncle Jeremy for Napod Pomo 2018, also known as Podvember. If you don't know what that is, it's basically a challenge to post a new podcast every day for the month of November, and it is November 3rd. It's an alarm kind of day. Been listening to a lot of the alarm the last few days. Or not the last few days, last day or so. I don't know why, I just kind of picked them up. I only discovered them like last year, and they've been around for like 40 years. And it reminds me of basically if The Clash and U2 had a baby. And it's just really good. I'm really enjoying listening to them. So I've been listening to them while editing a video. So if you hear clicking on the background, that's either the dryer going because I'm also doing laundry, or it's me clicking on a mouse while I edit an After Effects composition for my big event tomorrow, in which I will be doing stand-up comedy for 20 minutes. It's called Funny to a Degree. It's actually part of my capstone project for graduating from college. So I'm doing the final touches on basically an intro video that is going to play right before I come on stage. And after I'm done recording this podcast in a thankfully quiet house, because my wife took my children out to get some lunch, and I have the house all to myself, so I can pretty much do anything I want. And no, that doesn't mean I'm recording this in my underwear. I am not a savage. But it's the first episode of this podcast this year that I have not been driving, but I am pretty sure that's going to be the case as soon as Monday rolls around. I don't even know how I'm recording tomorrow. See, I'm flying by the seat of my pants. I don't know if you can tell. You know the best thing, and I guess I don't even know what the theme of this episode is because I haven't really put any thought into it. But I think what I would say is to people who struggle with getting things done, like finishing projects, and I'm one of them. I'm the worst of it. I have an entire hard drive full of unfinished stories and screenplays and movie ideas and books and things like that. So I'm speaking to myself, and I learned a lot from this book that I mentioned actually last year on this podcast. This book by an author named John Acuff. He wrote a book called Finish, and it's all about finishing. Go figure. It doesn't it lives up to its name. You know, it's not just a clever name. It's actually about finishing what you start, finishing your projects. And the enemy of finishing stuff is perfectionism. And, well, I would love to have a slickly produced podcast and a podcast that sounds like it's recorded in a studio. I don't have the time to sit down and do that. But if I were to finish 30 days of podcasting in November, I'm well past what I normally would do when I give up from making things look just right. Like, there's no bumper music, there's no bits, there's nothing planned out, no script for this episode. There's no scripts for the last 2 episodes. Will there be? Maybe in the future. Maybe when I finish this particular project I'm working on for stand-up. But really, I'm just doing what I can to get it out there, producing material. Now, it might not be the best podcast you ever heard, but at least it's a finished one. Because for every 2 or 3 podcasts, there's 1,000 podcasters out there that don't want to take the time because they're afraid of not being perfect. And I guess if I'm going to leave anybody with something from this rambling diatribe, it's that if you want to do anything, just do it. I guess I stole that from Nike. But it's so true. You know, the world is built by people who finish things. And if you want to sit and be in the audience, that's fine. That's not what I want to be anymore. I actually want to be a producer. I want to make stuff. And I kind of figured that out a couple of years ago, but I really haven't been doing or pursuing anything about that or like that until this year. I went to New York Comic-Con with my sons, and years ago I was a regular Comic-Con attendee, but I got a receipt in my Facebook. That's what that beep was. Sorry about that. See, this is why I'm not a professional at what I have. What I was saying was I used to go to Comic-Con and work a table with some friends of mine. And that was fun, like hanging out with my friends and, helping sell their books or their sketches. Because I'm not an artist in particular. I'm okay. I can draw a little bit, but these guys are like 10 times better than I am. Or 100 times better than I am. What am I kidding? I'm giving myself way too much credit. And that was fun. And then I started going as an attendee to Comic-Con with my kids because my sons really wanted to go to Comic-Con. And we've been going, and it's fine. It's a fun experience. But this year was really different. Like, I was done after a day, and so were my sons. And I think part of it is I'm tired of being a member of the audience. I'm tired of being someone who is basically waiting to be fed. I want to go out there and feed myself. I want to set my own table. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I will consume as much as I can. I consume podcasts on a daily basis. I consume books as much as I can. I'm constantly consuming on the internet, either whether it be on Facebook, reading articles that I see there, or just getting stuff and reading it. So I'm a consumer, but I want to be a producer. And if you want to be a producer, you can do it. I think that's the bottom line. You can do anything you put your mind to if you want to. And sometimes it requires sacrifice. I'm sacrificing a lot of TV time. I'll tell you this much. I want to watch. I was reading an article actually about Daredevil, the third season of Daredevil on Netflix. Now, that's the best of the Marvel TV shows. If you're not watching Daredevil, it's probably the best one best TV show they've produced, better than anything else. And I loved the first season. Second season was pretty good. And everything I've seen of the third season, I've only seen 2, maybe 3 episodes, I've absolutely been like bonkers for. And a couple years ago, I would have binge watched the entire season in a weekend so that I could say I watched it. But now it's been out for 3 weeks and I've only watched 3 episodes. And part of it's because I've put it aside for accomplishing other stuff, like producing podcasts or writing stand-up, producing this event that I'm working on this weekend. Sometimes production requires less consumption, and that's where I'm at right now. And I want to encourage anybody out there who might be listening to this podcast thinking, well, I want to make a podcast. That this guy's making a podcast on his phone while he's driving. How's that working? Why is he putting it out there? Well, I'm putting it out there so I can get it done, and I can have a quality or a quantity of output. And that's why I'm doing it. And you can do it too. So I guess that's all I have to say today. I know this is only about 10 minutes, and it's probably what I'm pretty good for. This month is about 10 minutes per podcast. But I am Jeremy. Thank you so much for listening to Storytime with Uncle Jeremy for Napod Pomo, Podvember. I leave you with my new motto. It is treat everybody you encounter every day as if they are having a worse day than you are, because a million drops of kindness can wash away a flood of misery. Thank you very much for listening, and I will see you tomorrow.